Close your eyes. Imagine a palace, carved from steel, crystal chandeliers dripping light onto Persian rugs, a grand staircase curling like a prayer, elevators that whisked you between worlds, first-class heaven to third-class hope. They called her unsinkable, not because she was invincible, because they believed nothing so beautiful could die. April 10th, 1912, Southampton. 2,240 souls board RMS Titanic. Dreamers, drifters, dynasties. Some seeking fortune, some fleeing famine, some chasing love, none knowing they were sailing into legend. This isn't a story about ice. It's about arrogance, about light refusing to see darkness, about a world so sure of its greatness, it forgot how to kneel. The Titanic didn't sink that night. She was offered to the sea as penance. They saw the warnings, 6, 7, 8 ice messages crackled over wireless. Field ice ahead, large bergs reported. Danger close, Captain Smith tucked them in his pocket. Bruce Ismay urged more speed. We must make headlines. The lookouts, no binoculars, locked away, lost in paperwork. At 11:39 p.m., April 14th, fleet squints into blackness, sees it, a black mass rising from the sea, rings the bell, 3 times. Iceberg right ahead. Too late, too proud, too human. The iceberg didn't strike the ship. The ship struck its own reflection, a mirror held up by the sea, showing humanity its fatal flaw. We build monuments, then forget they can fall. The real killer wasn't ice, it was certainty. It wasn't a crash, not a bang. A sigh, a long, low groan, like a mountain learning to weep. Below deck, stewards felt it first. China rattled, doors shuddered, a wine glass shattered. Not from impact, but from dread. What was that? Asked a child in second class. Nothing, darling, lied her mother. But in Boiler Room 6, men knew. Seawater burst through seams, hissing, hungry, rising. They didn't run. They stayed, kept the lights on, the pumps running, so others might live. That sound? Wasn't metal tearing. It was time, unraveling, and no one could stitch it back. They called it chivalry. Women and children first. Noble, romantic, British. Truth? It was class warfare dressed in silk. On the starboard side, Officer Lightoller enforced it. Rigidly, no man allowed. Even if boat half empty. Third-class families, barred by gates, told to wait below. On port side, Officer Lowe looked away. Let fathers climb in, let stewards row, let hope breathe. Result, 97% of first-class women lived, 46% of third-class children died, 80% of all men drowned. Women and children first wasn't mercy, it was math, calculated by ticket price, written in seawater, signed in silence. As the bow kissed the Atlantic, 8 men picked up their instruments, not because they were told, because they chose. Violins, cellos, a piano salvaged from the lounge. They played ragtime, hymns, folk songs mothers sang, not to calm, not to perform, to companion, to say, you are not alone in the dark. Survivor after survivor swore the music never stopped, not when the deck tilted, not when the lights flickered, not even when the ship stood vertical and the stars wheeled overhead like silent witnesses. Bandmaster Wallace Hartley, his last note, nearer, my God, to thee. His body, found weeks later, still clutching his violin case. They didn't play to delay death. They played to dignify it, and in that, they outlived the ship. At 2:18 a.m., she stood straight, like a cathedral offered to the sky. Then, the unthinkable. A sound no human throat should make. 1,500 souls screaming as gravity took them. In Lifeboat 4, Dorothy Gibson watched, dry-eyed. Later, she starred in the first Titanic film, wearing the same dress she'd escaped in. In Collapsible B, Harold Bride clung upside down as wireless sparks died in his hands. Last messages unsent. In The Water, Father Thomas Biles heard confessions until the cold stole his breath. What do you do when the world ends? Pray, panic, sing, or just hold someone's hand as the black takes you? Their choices didn't save them, but they saved us, reminding us, in the end, all we have is how we loved. 1985. Robert Ballard's cameras pierce the dark, and there she waits, not wrecked, not ruined, recomposed, bow buried in silt, stern shattered like a broken vow, shoes still paired, bottles still corked, a chandelier still hanging. Tourists weep, scientists measure, corporations scheme. But the sea? She keeps vigil. Anemones veil first-class suites. Crabs nest in Marconi's room. Nature doesn't mourn. She reclaims. We call it a grave. It's an altar, where humanity sacrificed its pride to remember humility. Touch nothing, take nothing, disturb nothing. She isn't yours to loot. She is yours to learn from. They say we've moved on. Better ships, better tech, better warnings. But the Iceberg, it never left. It sails now as climate denial, as wealth gaps wider than lifeboat gaps, as leaders who lock gates while the water rises, as artists who play on while the world burns. The Titanic didn't sink because of ice. It sank because we believed some things couldn't sink. Empires, market certainties, ourselves. Next time you board a unsinkable system, ask who's in the boiler room, who's locked below, who's playing music. As the deck tilts, the sea hasn't forgotten. Why should we? They tried to bury her in myth, in movies and merchandise. But the sea remembers, and so do we. Not for the jewels lost, but for the hands held. Not for the steel broken, but for the songs sung. The Titanic didn't teach us how to build better ships. She taught us how to be better humans. In the dark, in the cold, in the end. So tonight, light a candle, play a hymn, hold someone close, and whisper, to the deep, we haven't forgotten. We're trying to be worthy. The sea will answer, not in waves, but in silence, the kind that holds its breath, waiting to see if we've learned.